Welcome to everybody on behalf of INT on the special event of Digital Success Summit. On the International Women's Day, we will be talking about women in leadership. Before we start, we have a video to play for all of you. Can we have the video, please?
You have faced hardships with bravery. You have disarmed your problems through your smile. You have concealed your worries in your heart. You are a woman.
Yeah. First of all, a very happy Women's Day. I'm Payal Adhikari and will be moderating this special event today. Let's quickly introduce our guest. Suman Soor, Director of BD Memorial School. Ms. Sanhita Kanare, Head of HR of INT. I would like our viewers to keep posting their views to our esteemed guest, and we will be attending those in the end of the session. Thank you all for being our guest tonight. Let's start the session. Okay, so 2020 has been a massive year for all of us. COVID-19 has changed the meaning of work from home, especially for women. Juggling between both the work and family has built up an immense pressure, which has also made our working overwhelming. It will be great if all of you can share your view on how you were managing your home and office at the same time during lockdown phase. How did you manage that phase? If you can share with us, then we would be love to know that. So,
Should I
Miss,
start?
yes.
A very good evening, and thank you for having me here on this very special day. A very happy Women's Day to all the lovely women here. And it's really been my honor and pleasure and privilege. Talking about hardships, the video that you showed in the beginning said it all. You know, we are women, so we know how to rise up to the challenges. So there are two options whenever a challenge comes your way. Either you succumb to that, or you be a beacon of hope and take it up as a challenge. So I think I, and along with me, many other women, most of us have chosen the later. So we have chosen to rise up to the challenge and to face whatever comes our way. And the lockdown, as it happened, it was just overnight. So everything was in a turmoil. We were just thrown into the whole new system, into absolutely untraversed areas where everything was unprecedented. There was no example to follow. There was nothing to look back upon, and maybe to learn from the mistakes, because when we have an experience, we try to learn from that experience. There was no such experience during our generation times. So this thing that has happened, it's like in 100 years' time. So we all know about that. And in this lockdown, it seemed as if it's just one day's work, or maybe 2 days, a few more days, and then we'll be back to normal. We still are not back to normal as such. But yes, as an educator and as a school administrator and as a school director, I can say for one thing that we really took it up as a challenge, and we tried our best to make sure that the learning continues. So this was one thing on the work front. So whatever came our way, whether it was the support of it was actually the support of technology, because technology came to our rescue. And it was also another greater challenge, because many teachers, especially the senior teachers, were not so adept from working from home with the technological tools. So to teach them, to handhold them, and to give trainings, to have webinars, And at the same time, there was this you were having no household help. So as women, we had to look after the house. We know how things are. It is a responsibility, but again, family support. Most of us have been lucky. We have had family support. We've had to change routines. We have had to form new kinds of curriculum in the school system. And overall, lot of planning, lot of work had to be done so that we could adapt and reinvent the whole process and get into the new learning mode.
Yeah, absolutely. So I would like to introduce our another guest, Ms. Himika Chaudhary. She is the head of the Media and Communication Ministry of Schools GOI. Welcome for being our guest. So,
Thank
ma'am,
you.
yeah, so as we were talking about that, since COVID has changed many things in our lives, and being a woman, it is very difficult to juggle between the work and as well as the office, right?
Sure.
So I would like your point of view that how you were managing this phase and how what is your view on this? If you can share it with us.
Sure. Well, to begin with, a very, very happy International Women's Day to all of us. It's lovely to be on the panel with all of you. Ma'am Sood, I'm so happy, to be on the same panel with you. Similarly, for my
And
other
sure is
panelists, I'm
mine.
sorry we didn't get introduced earlier. Uh, I think the occasion is apt to say, and when you ask me that how did you balance work and work and home, today might be an apt day to say that, well, I used my husband. But jokes apart, yes, it was like Ma'am Sood was just saying, one of the most challenging times that I think, and all of us agree, have kind of seen in our lifetimes. Like she was saying, and I completely concur that there was nothing for us as an example to follow, nothing like this that had ever happened before. So I'm sorry, am I visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Now.
Uh,
Lost her. Yeah. It's connectivity issue.
I'm sorry, I just lost everyone. That is technology. That was one of the challenges, to be on technology and work from home and get lost 50 times and log in again on Zoom calls, you know. But yes, coming back to what we were talking about, so it's something that we'd never faced. I think the biggest challenge that I felt, and I'm guessing a lot of us did, was to be able to balance time between work and home, because unlike in normal times, there was no, I mean, there was never a clear line of ending of the work hours and beginning of the home hours, and one kind of almost seamlessly and very, very irritatingly moved into the other, and almost became like a whole, which was very, very difficult to handle. Of course, since you were at home, bosses were kind of tending to think that, you are at home and possibly not doing a thing. So let's give more work and more work and more work. So I think the workload for all of us went up a lot more while being at home. Technology, while having its advantages, I mean, we are in different cities, but yet having this beautiful conversation, has the disadvantage that, it kind of mentally also fatigues you after a point, that you're just looking at a screen and you're talking to somebody or something that is very far away. Immediate reactions don't come. So often you do not know what you are saying, or what, or what you're proposing, how it's being taken. So I think it was often very, very challenging to balance. I think that was the key to balance work and home. I remember that for most of my Zoom meetings, and I think all of us did it, to put the camera off. And I would just tell these guys that I have my mic on, and please don't be surprised if you hear, sounds of fish being fried, or, the pressure cooker going on, because, you typically have a Zoom meeting at 12 in the afternoon when you are trying to cook a meal because your maid hasn't arrived and cannot come, poor thing. And, so it would be things like, the whistle is going on, and then right then somebody is trying to say something on the call, and you're putting your ear very, very close to the phone to understand what he or she is saying. So I think, it was one of those crazy times which really challenged all our faculties, physical, mental, even the fact that, how you felt, at a very, and this is getting a little philosophical, but at a very soul level, because, staying at home, constantly doing so much of work, I think all of us at some point of time felt a little depressed, unable to meet the people you love, etc. But you're also coping with that. And you're also coping with work. And you're also coping with housework. And you know that at the end of it, you'll have to put all of that out on a platter in a way that is acceptable, and, in a way that works. And that, I think, for women has been really, really difficult. I mean, for people in general, I think, but for women specifically, I think it has been really, really difficult.
Yeah. Sanhita, can you share your view? How
Yeah.
you doing it?
Yes, to begin with, warm good evening to all my panelists here and my
Right.
INT team. Yes, I feel honored to share this platform with you all today, and thanks to the team for putting up a great, discussion today on this special occasion of Women's Day. I feel honored and I feel happy to share my views on this platform. So I think you both have said most of the points, so there isn't anything much to add to what you have already spoken. But I think yes, moving into this pandemic thing, we were not prepared. This happened so sudden. We didn't know what is going to work and what is not going to work. And being a part of HR team, we had to mobilize our workforce from office working to remote working. So as an HR team, we had a greater responsibility to play. At the same time, we had to take care of the domestic responsibilities. Your child was new to the online school, so you
Yes.
had to kind of help your uh, child to get adopted to the new thing, technology or system, you know at the same time, you did not have any domestic help available at that point of time, so you had to manage your home course. Then you had to plan your meals. You had very limited resource available, limited time, and your professional commitment. So indeed a great time, lot of learnings, lot of experiences. I think it was time to take a pause. It was also required. I see a positive thing in this because it really gave us an opportunity to practically differentiate between what we need and what we want. Over the years, we have kind of, converted all our wants into needs. And this was the time when we realized what we really need and what we really want. So I think it was a great learning in the true sense. And I think unless you are put through this kind of test, you don't realize your own potential, what you are actually capable of doing. So I think, yes, it
Yes.
was a
I
great
so
experience.
agree with I so agree with you on that. That, one of the huge positives of the pandemic is that, we it was like knowing, like you very aptly put, the difference between what we need really and what we want. And often what we want is so much more than what we
Yes,
really need. And, that mindful living, as an extension of that, I think that came on by force, but in a wonderful way. Because,
yes,
you knew, like you said, that resources were limited, and you knew that you had to make do for the next couple of days with the resources that you had. You made the most of everything that you had. And I think that, that way of living is something that, has been a beautiful positive impact of the pandemic. And yes, I have completely, enjoyed that part of it. I agree with
Yes,
you completely. Yeah.
yes, yes,
To add on to this, I think we all became wonderful cooks. And
yes.
Yes.
we learned a
Love
lot
to,
of new
love
things.
to,
See, and
absolutely, absolutely.
you know
Cooking.
and Shelja, since you're from HR, let me tell you that, like I said, that when I was asked, I mean, how did you manage, and I said I used my husband, and so he was in charge of the jharu pocha and the bartan, and I used to do the cooking. And since you're from HR, you would appreciate this. So I would tell him that, because I am in I am a skilled service and you're an unskilled service.
No, but I did not have to. I did not have to divide the work because my husband took it upon himself to do this, to do that. So I was
Oh,
like,
wonderful.
Yes.
so
So
it was
so
a great support. It still
so
is.
Yes.
international happy International Women's Day every day to you, ma'am. That
Every
that
day.
that
Thank
the
you.
Yes,
support is
absolutely.
intact throughout the year and not only on this day of the year.
I think
Absolutely.
from she, if you take out he, then only S remains.
That is so
Right?
true. That is so true. That is so true.
So we are lucky by God's grace.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. So, like we have talked about more of a positive side of COVID-19, but there was also another side which was more of a negative side where we saw the escalation of job insecurity and health violence that happened on women. So, what, according to you, is the key impact of COVID-19 or the pandemic on women outside the healthcare context? If you can share. So I would like to start with Suman ma'am, if you can start with your view.
I will first talk upon from the point of view of an educator because there are a lot of women who are in the education field. So many teachers they lost their jobs, maybe not by the employers, but some they had no way that they could continue working. Maybe they did not have the required skills and the work balance, their work life balance they could not probably create. They had more responsibilities, so because of many such reasons they could not continue in their careers. And I have quite a few friends who have small schools like preschools. They are entrepreneurs, but they could not continue. It was very difficult for them to pay 1.5 lakh or 2 lakh rupees of rent when the schools were not running. And for preschools there were no regulations. Nobody was paying the fee. If the child was not coming to the school, nobody was wanting online education also. Even if the online education was there for them, it was like just for the very minimal fee, so they could not manage those kind of setups. So they had to discontinue. So this was a great impact on many of the women that I am aware of. Plus, as you said, violence increased in households, and there was frustration. There was, and many girl students also, they opted out of education. They could not continue. So they decided to do something else. And not only here, no, I would say not only girls, many boys also opted out of it, especially the ones who were like studying for free or who did not have the resources to continue in an online way. And other than that, hospitality sector, there also you have so many women working, so their jobs were impacted. Their the overall situation became a difficult thing. So economically, financially, and career wise, there has been a great impact on women. And also, like mental health and other things, of course, there have been depression cases, there have been violence cases. So it has not been easy. And this impact, I don't know how long it will continue, because it is not easy to break the influence. This can be a long term influence, which we would require all efforts by the government, by the society, to handhold such people and to make sure they are back on the tracks once again.
Yeah. So, Hemant, have you seen any similar kind of experience in your arena, like where you have faced or have heard of women being not violence due to this COVID-19 impact and all this thing?
See, honestly, I do not think violence. See, I work in the government now, but till not very long ago, I was part of the mainstream media, been a journalist for 17 years. And as you know, media is one of the worst impacted industries due to COVID. I mean, really big organizations like the Times of India, Hindustan Times, several television channels, national channels have laid off people by the hundreds, you know. And this is irrespective of men or women. But having said that, more women tend to have been impacted for the simple reason that more women cover, the softer side of news like lifestyle, entertainment, and the like, which has become the, so to say, the first place of cut when it comes to, because politics, sports, business, these are which is part of the main newspaper or the main news bulletin, always stays on. But it is the other softer things like entertainment, lifestyle, food, culture, art, which is usually mostly covered by women. Those supplements, let's say, have been closed, or they've become thinner, so more people have been laid off. uh, of course, women, are, as a gender, probably are far more resilient compared to men. And when they are in the face of a huge challenge, I think their reaction is often possibly not violence, but internalizing, the the pains of the situation, so to say, if one would put it like that. So I think I have been meeting or interacting with a lot of my girlfriends who are, who have lost jobs, who have had huge salary cuts. Many of them live alone in cities, which is not their hometown. So they have a rent to pay, they have car EMIs, they have, other things to pay for. What has happened is that, this insecurity, of either the loss of job completely or a huge salary cut, has led most of them to, kind of cocoon themselves into their own world. The joy is gone. I do not know whether it would be correct to call it depression, because depression is a very wide, uh, you know, scope of conversation, and I'm not a mental health specialist. But the signs of that you are slowly, you are just so flustered by what is going around in your life, that you don't have a steady income, you don't know if tomorrow you're going to have a job. Slowly but steadily, they have, taken themselves into a cocoon, not interacting with people, trying possibly to find other ways to earn a living, trying possibly to find ways through which to keep their job safe. So that is something that I have seen, that people who were possibly, far more outgoing, far more, warm, reaching out, have suddenly become very inward looking. Suddenly their entire thought process, from being extremely positive, may have turned into negative. So that is something that I have seen and felt, and this impact on the mind is going to take a long time to correct. And like ma'am correctly said, that unless the government or probably organizations, which is also corporates, decide to come forward with some kind of a focused uh, process through which these people can be brought back on track, given that assurance, because financial assurance is probably one of the biggest assurances that we need in day to day life. So unless that happens, I think this impact is here to stay, and it's in that sense, it's a rather bleak and sad situation.
Yeah. Talking on the resilience part, Sanhita, can you tell us that how technology has brought resilience during this COVID-19 time?
Hello. Yeah, your voice is breaking. Can you please repeat the question, please?
Yeah, sure. Sanhita, can you hear me?
Your voice is breaking.
Hello?
Hello, your voice is breaking. Can you please repeat the question?
Hello?
Hello. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Please repeat your question, please.
Yeah, yeah. So talking on the resilience part, which Miss Himika said, I would like to talk like how technology has brought resilience in the during this COVID period. If you can share your view.
Uh, Yeah, I think it has been the biggest support. I think we were the amount of collaboration or the amount of communication which was required during this COVID time. We were working remotely, and a lot of things needed to be communicated. Even for your domestic course, you were buying things online. So I think technology played a very important role. And of course, if that support wasn't there, I think navigating through this tough time wouldn't have been possible. I think definitely.
I
Technology
completely agree that it made. I mean, technology became our only window to
was
the
the only
world.
support system. Yes.
And the only, especially for people living alone, which is the truth in a lot of metropolitan cities, not
Mhm.
only in India, across the world, that people living alone, completely alone in a house, I mean, technology and that connection to the outside world or the people they love or the people they want to connect with, I think that would have been the little solace that one had in these very, very tough times. So I mean, completely agree
Yeah.
that, resilience in that sense, both resilience, joy, or simple succor. Technology was that for us during these times.
Even I've seen in my families also, just people used to, or relatives used to just come together and have a, quick call and, just
Yes,
keep a check on what's happening and, just checking about well-being. That also was good enough in the sense that that gave that sense of relief and, that comfort that, there is a support system. So without technology, we wouldn't have even, been able to survive so
I
yes,
totally take
absolutely.
up on that also because both my sons they are out. They are one is in Hong Kong, one is in Dubai, and their families with their families.
yeah.
So to connect with them and to actually understand, and they for them also it was like a video call every day, and for us also it was something which we look forward to as a family. And so this was a
Sure.
great help. It still is.
Yes,
So thanks
yes.
to technology.
Thanks to technology.
What we would have done
Yes,
without that.
And people who were not so comfortable with technology suddenly, saw themselves into a situation where they had to kind of
Absolutely.
had to. Yes,
get used
yes,
to
Absolutely.
technology. So it was a wonderful thing. I've seen my mom connecting with her sisters and talking to them on WhatsApp and video calls. So it was definitely.
absolutely, absolutely. Yes, yes.
Right,
I
right.
would just like to, I would just like to say that my phone is on 2% battery, so I might have be signed off unknowingly at any time. So if that happens before the session ends, I would just like to thank, for having me on this show. It was wonderful, great exchange of thoughts and ideas. Ma'am Sood, thank you so much. Also to you, Sangita,
Pleasure.
it was
Honor.
wonderful.
It
And
was
I
wonderful
hope
having
to,
you here.
Meet you.
Thank you
be
so
with
much.
you on several other panels. And once again, very, very happy, Women's Day to all of us. May we rise, shine, always laugh,
Same,
smile, and love ourselves the most.
Yeah,
same to you. Same to you.
same to you. Thank you so much.
Okay, so continuing with the our session, so let's do this quick thing. Like, what keeps you motivated? I want to know, as a woman, what keeps you motivated on the journey of like whatever you are doing right now. So, what keeps you motivated?
Okay, I'll take that.
Uh, yes, please.
Um, uh, what keeps me motivated uh, is the milestone for the future. There are certain things that it's not to say that I'm very ambitious, and possibly those milestones are not essentially professional milestones. They are not material milestones, but they are sometimes milestones of who I want to see myself as. For instance, I would like to, and I keep thinking that if I were to help, be able to help even 5 people in a year, in whatever capacity and in whatever they needed, that for me would be hugely joyful. So that is my motivation, that I feel that if I continue to work well, if I find myself a place in society, maybe I can give back to society just by being in that place and reaching out to others who could benefit from my help, or whatever. I don't want to call it help, but benefit from that association. So that for me is a huge motivation to keep working so that I can use whatever I have achieved.
I think,
No.
Miss Vikram, Suman ma'am, can you continue with that?
Yes. So my motivation is like I set small goals for myself, and reaching those goals and trying my best to do whatever I can in whatever way possible. And then, this I get motivated by uh, my family, mainly by my husband. So he is my greatest motivator, greatest supporter. So maybe probably today whatever I'm doing, and even during through the day we have this discussion of what has been done and what I need to do. So many ideas, many uh, inspiring talks are there. So, and also my children, my grandchildren, so they are also great motivators. So plus it is my personal thing that this has been ingrained in me, maybe when I was growing up, especially my mother, and then later on my mother-in-law, two lovely women, and they are not there anymore. But I'm sure they would be smiling up from heaven right now to see me doing whatever I am doing. And they all both believed in whatever you do, try to do it in the best, excellent way. So the trying to achieve excellence in whatever way possible, that is my motivation.
Yeah. So talking on excellence, Subhadram, I would like to ask you another question. That is, now we have seen that kids are having like a new phase of learning. They are doing their learning through a virtual medium and all. So how do you think that kids can be taught and made ready for the initial days about work-life balance?
Here it is the great onus lies upon us as teachers, as educators, and as family, as adults, because right from the beginning children have to be taught that there is a difference between work and life. They have to be taught that there is difference between work and play. Play is important, we learn through play, but all the time play is not needed. When they have to prioritize, they have to learn to prioritize between work and play. When it is work time, they must work, and at the same time there is a very thin line here. We need to emphasize on work and play priorities, and also we need to make it very flexible, because stressing them and enforcing things on them is also not right. So overall it is a very there's thin line between all the different ways that we can motivate them. But I think by example, by being good role models, as teachers, as parents, we can do that. And we can make children understand that work can be fun, and it's not necessary that work has to be serious. And sometimes parents also they give that seriousness to their work, And so children, they learn from that. So parents can make their work fun also. They can share some of the work that they are doing with the children, especially the household work and the responsibilities. Those can be shared. And then when parents are going out for work, and that time also they can make children understand that work is important. Sometimes we trust given to for flimsy reasons, we give in to children's demands. That also should not be there. So a happy balance has to be created in all different ways. So I think as I said earlier, the main responsibility lies on us. And if we bring this balance in our lives, and if we are able to show it as an example to the children, they are surely going to learn, and they are going to pick it up and make it their way of life.
Okay. So, Sanhita, my question to you is that, like, we have seen that pandemic has created a paradigm shift in every sector. So, I would like to have your view or changes that you can recommend to for the corporate sector for a better world.
Okay. So I think, already, we have discussed that how this pandemic and this unprecedented challenges have, impacted all of us in so many different ways. But it's the woman, probably she has been bearing the brunt of this economic and social, fallout of COVID crisis the most. And I think when government or our businesses or the corporate sector is working on new policies or any bringing up any structural change, I think the recovery efforts should be more towards bringing that stability in economic security for women. And I also believe that women representation in business leadership roles is not enough. I think women are are great assets for the organization, and they are irreplaceable because they bring some finer elements on the table which is required. I think so there has to be some conscious efforts being made for women in particular. And of course, looking at overall reformation of economy and society, I think businesses also need to bring new policies, or maybe bring more changes in their structure, generate more employment opportunities across different boundaries. And obviously there would be newer ways of adopting to the new normal. uh, yes.
Okay. So, this question on a lighter note will be for both of you. Can you share some podcast or the books that you'd like to recommend our viewers?
I've been reading a lot of HR articles, so I don't read books much, but then there are some interesting articles of late I have read, and I would like to recommend some of those. Yeah.
Okay.
Uh,
So,
I have been reading a few books. I am an avid reader, but right now what comes to my mind is this book which I was reading. It's actually meant basically for educators, and but I think all of us can read it, because this is something which teaches us how to actually teach children. And it is a very interesting book. It is written by Dr. Swati Popatwat. She is the president of Early Childhood Association, and along with her, Vanita Rai. So this is on Gijubai Badekar, and how he was not an educationist, but he became an educationist, and he taught through stories. So the name of the book is Once Upon a Story. So this is like these days, this is my reference book. I keep reading it now and then. Other than that, another Bible book I have is the Secrets of Success. The Secret. It's
okay.
called The Secret. So that is another book which we can read, and we can gain a lot of motivation from that book, and you can find many answers to your questions. And then the internet is there all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. So, as we have said, that there will be some questions from our viewers. Now, one most interesting question that is coming up for you all is that what is the most exciting idea or story you have heard during the pandemic? Anyone can start.
Interesting.
Interesting
Exciting
story
idea
or
or
idea.
story.
Uh, I think it's about the women achievements that we have heard during these days. When the world was fighting to combat this pandemic, we have heard about Miss Meenal Bhosle, who's the R&D chief of MyLab Pune. She submitted a COVID testing kit for evaluation by NIV just a day before she delivered her child. I think it's a great, inspiring story for all of us. Then we have heard about Captain Swati Raval, if I'm correctly taking her name. She has piloted Boeing 777 to rescue Indians who were stuck overseas. So these are some outstanding achievements we have seen coming from women, and those are so inspiring and so motivating. I mean, they have put up such significant contribution. It's indeed worth sharing, and people should read and get inspired.
And my little granddaughter, 7 years old, she was locked down. She was here from Hong Kong, and she was supposed to be going back with her maternal grandparents to Hong Kong after my daughter-in-law left, and then the lockdown happened. And for nearly 6.5 to 7 months, she was locked down here. So, and for a child, it was no matter how loving grandparents are, for a child to live without her mother and father and being separated from a little sister also was causing a lot of anxiety. But she's very, very brave. She didn't try to show at all. So trying to keep her occupied and trying to make sure that things went the right way. So there are a lot of activities that we did together, and many of those activities I shared with parents also later on. And also my other granddaughter who is in Dubai. So she was also very, and how children were. They were missing their friends. They were missing the play outside. They didn't know how to spend time. Parents were busy online, and but luckily these children had their own online tools. So then from her, I got this idea of a play date. So they started organizing play dates. Parents got together. They started organizing play dates for children, and these children then they were getting together on the Zoom or the team meeting, and doing role play, playing with their toys, showing each other their toys. And both my granddaughters, one from India, one from Dubai, they were doing dance competitions online. So all these things, they helped them to survive this time and make this time interesting. So these ideas I later on shared with some parents, which were they also incorporated. So basically, I think we all collaborated. We held hands, and we tried our best to make sure that we move through this effortlessly and as in the best way possible.
Yeah. So another question from our viewer is that what one change you will expect to happen before the next Women's Day?
I would like to see many more, leadership positions being, considered for women employees. So this is one change. There isn't enough representation of women in, significant roles. I would like to have more number in such roles. So this is one change I would love to see.
Yeah,
Okay.
that is true, and also I think a lot of life skills people have developed, and I hope they continue to develop this. And these life skills, I hope, are being developed in children also, so that they can be resilient. They can rise up to any such challenge. God forbid that we face many more challenges like this,
Yeah.
but
Yes, it's
whenever we are faced with this challenge, at least we have these life skills and we are armed with these kind of tools to overcome and take up on any situation. And
yes.
for women, I would like to say, which is my motto also, and this is my tagline, that sapne dekho aur sakar karo. Nothing can stop you if you dream, see a dream. Nothing can stop you. No amount of bureaucracy, no amount of corruption, nothing can stop you. You just have to dream big, and the dreams will be realized. So this is my feeling. This has been my the motivation, as you said earlier. This has been my motivation through life, and also what I have followed.
Absolutely, ma'am. Absolutely.
Absolutely. I completely agree. I mean, women don't realize how strong they are unless they are, put through such tests. I think
Yeah,
women have proven time and again that they have emerged even more stronger, through
right,
these testing times. I think,
right,
yes,
right.
just believe it and, make it happen.
Make it happen.
Okay. So we have come to the end of our session. It's been a lovely session. Thank you again, Sumit ma'am and Sanita, for being the panelist. And again, once again, happy International's Day and International Women's Day. And
Happy International Women's Day.
uh,
May each day be a Women's Day.
We need to celebrate every day as
Absolutely.
women.
It has been really lovely connecting with all of you and interacting, learning, and sharing. So I think this is one of the greatest privileges we can have, to learn and share from each other. Thank you so much.
thank
Thank you
you.
so much. It's indeed been a great time sharing this platform, sharing our thoughts. Thank you so much. It was a wonderful experience for me. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
So let's end this session with a video. Can we have it?
Sure.